Well, welcome back, everybody. Great to go ahead and have you here with me this weekend. So as we go ahead and kick off, just a reminder, this video is going to be a little bit longer video. I'm really doing these videos once a week right now, unless something major changes in the middle of the week. There's four big things we're kind of focusing on right now. First, of course, as you can imagine, in 2 weeks, we got the huge Wealth 365 Summit, which we have some exciting new speakers, first-time speakers that want to be a part of it, plus everything here that goes into those, which is why they're the most popular and highly attended financial summits out there. So put a lot of effort into those, and we're really excited for you to see what's on tap there. Then right now with the market moves and the opportunities they bring, along with the strategies that are working best, that's kind of a key focus of mine right now. So because as part of that, that's what I'm going to be doing. I've got a few talks at the Wealth 365 Summit, and I'm going to go ahead and be bringing that data and that information about what's working best from my perspective right here, right now. So that's going to be wildly important, but of course putting a lot of effort in that to make sure we've got things down for you. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, we got some huge releases for the Wealth Charts platform for our Wealth Charts traders and investors alike, things that they've been clamoring for and are excited about. So I'm super excited to be releasing all those new features for Wealth Charters. Couldn't be a better time for that. So I'm super excited, but super busy, and of course making up for time, as you guys know, from being out for several weeks after the surgery, the complications from surgery, the recovery, all that good stuff. So busy time, but I want to let you know I'm here, and like I said, it's going to be super exciting as you see things rolled out in the next couple weeks here between the summit and the things for all of you for Wealth Charts and everything else. So with all that being said, let's get into what we're looking at here. Following up from last week's video here, you'll recall I told you that I was concerned because we only had a one-bar breakdown below this key support level, and as you know, as part of my strategy, I like to see two-bar decisive breakdowns. So have it come down and then have the next one also come down, open closer to the high, close closer to the low. I don't want like a accumulation bar where it's coming in there 45-50% off the low. I don't like those either. Well, and of course, what we ended up having then was this week quite the opposite, and that was a big concern of mine. A one-bar trend, break below this key support doesn't make the trend. In fact, look what it did. It basically got all the way back up in line with the other weekly open, high, low closes. So with that being said, we do not have a decisive break in any way, shape, or form of this long-term weekly support. We still have the resistance coming down on top of us in the financial markets, but we also have the rising support underneath. So we're kind of in this exacerbated kill zone. Now, you'll recall, so we talked about that in last Sunday's video. We also talked about the positive divergence here, right? And so what we talked about there was the whole concept of the hidden divergence, right? We mentioned how we were basically not making a lower low while we were clearly making the lower low in price. And I went into a whole presentation on the hidden divergence factor there for you. So with that being said, sure enough, that hidden divergence went ahead and took hold, and that pushed this market right back up. So again, we only had a one-bar break, and we had the positive divergence, and that brought things right back up here again. And it's so important you remember those things and you learn from those things. And so what happened now, we've gone right back into the falling resistance. We have resistance here. It's still support officially, but it's area being decided on the weekly basis. Clearly, a lot of open, high, low closes. So we have a lot of stress right at that level on the weekly chart. And on the daily chart here for the SPY, we have the resistance coming down on top of us clearly on the daily chart. And we also have a very overbought condition in the short-term fast stochastics there. So all in all, what this means is this area right here would be an area where we'd start to expect that it would pull back under normal conditions, at least short term. So what I'm going to be watching very closely going into next week is this area right up here. So you can basically mark it, take a look at the SPY, and watch. Just mark the upper level at 400 round number resistance there, and I'm watching this 390 area. Basically from 390 to 400, this is a key massive resistance area that you guys should be very aware of. Okay, and so if we can start breaking above that, I'm going to get a little more interested in the market. I just want to point out that you remember last time we tried to break that key resistance. We held it and we rolled right back over, pushed the new low. So what we're looking for now is what can it do here? Can it start to build a base above this? In the end, the big area that really needs to get people start getting more warm and fuzzy on a daily basis is going to be up here in this 422, 425 area. So a lot of key resistance. If you look in there, there's a couple lines in there. Not to mention this long-term, what was support for well over a year is now resistance. So you're going to have some short-term opportunities for the long side. We'll discuss that in a moment if we can get through some of this daily resistance. So in the bigger picture, and then let's talk about the inverse ETFs for a moment, because basically everything's been working very well technically, right? We had the key support here. It went ahead, did not have the 2-bar break. It actually rallied back over here, so it's holding that support. We had the positive divergence, which sure enough, in my video last week that we covered, quite a bit, that brought us right back up, but it stopped into falling resistance. And then on the inverse ETF side with the SQQQ, we went ahead and back over here, you recall, Ted, one of my staff members, was in a trade long on SQQQ. He got out of that trade because we hit target 2 on what's called my TRP indicator, and that's a very important one of mine. And so and these don't repaint. That same level was there before as it is now. If you go watch any of the videos, you'll see it was all there. None of that stuff repaints, right? What good is it if it keeps repainting? So it hit that level. So Ted went ahead and called it a day, took his profits on it, and it pulled all the way back down and just held on to the champion trend support, fired back off another TRP buy, and went right up to target number 2 again, and then died a horrible death and pulled back. So really, the technicals are just working phenomenally on these things right now. You're also getting, when we're getting down to those key support areas, resistance, you'll see things are working very well, which is great. So where does this go ahead and put then some of the opportunities? Well, we told you for those of you that want to sleep a little bit better at night right now, you may want to look at an intraday opportunity. And the beauty is you don't have to look long, very long at the market. You don't have to be there very long. You can go ahead and you can come in, you can take a look at what's happening with the market here, this is Friday here, right? So you can see that the market went long. We fired off wealth signals. We fired off breakout forecasters. Now, anybody who knows some of my work knows just how important that is. All of you that are annual members have access to those tools inside of wealth charts there as part of your membership, and look what happened, right? So right off the out of the gate Friday morning, there when the market opened, we had already been firing off those breakout signals, which means we're expecting higher highs, and off to the races it went, right? And then every time it had the pullbacks, the same strategy I've taught you countless times here, the pullback, the fast spike pullback, I've taught that many times inside of like Wealth 365 events and everything else. Go back and watch the recordings on those if you have access to wealth charts. You got access to watch those videos, and so and then also like the IRBs and reverse IRBs. Look, we had a reverse IRB here, a reverse IRB here, breaking above those, and these are 5-minute bars. Look at the huge moves that were happening in short amounts of time. You're talking like just that one little move right here. That's 20 points. That's $1,000 a contract in 5 minutes, right? So you don't have to spend a lot of time there. And I'm not saying that everybody's going to go ahead and be there. You're going to be there at that particular time when it's firing off. But what I'm trying to say is that if you are there, you can see these things live in real time, and it's exciting. You can see the movement that was happening with these. And then you go throughout the day here, we were holding above the champion trend. We would get the stochastic pullbacks here, as you can see, and basically what this thing was doing was, and then getting the slower stochastic pulling back here, which then led to bigger moves, and off to the races it kind of went, and continued to have breakouts, which means even after a pullback, expecting a new move again. So right up into the close on Friday. So you were able to go ahead and have a lot of opportunities on Friday, and then be able to close out your positions and sleep like a baby. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is go over to things like sector scanner and see what's hot, right? So by taking a look at what's hot there, that's real important. So as we back up here for a moment, let's go ahead and take a look. And if you were to start off with sector scanner here, now remember, I don't do this by percent change. That's kind of the old school way. Not that there's not value in going ahead and looking at those, but the real value comes in how are these things doing algorithmically and what's happening with those algorithmically. That's where the real value comes in. So what's nice is I can go to the daily, weekly, or monthly basis and see how they're scoring algorithmically, and then put all the sectors together. Well, look at that. First thing I see is healthcare is actually doing best, and then you got also consumer defensive. Let's just focus on healthcare for a moment. So I can compare all those stocks inside of healthcare. Well, now I can do the same thing here, and as we bring it down to all these subsectors, see what's doing best here. Okay, so we see drug manufacturers. We also see biotech. So I just grab a couple of these here that are coming through. So I'm going to compare, and then I'm just doing this all on a daily basis. Look at the sheer number of biotechs and medicals that are just buried at the 800 level. Look at that. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, right? So what that's telling me is, that sector, despite the pullbacks in something like energy and that finally have, we've been talking about energy, as you know, since October of last year, and then of course real estate, right? Real estate came tumbling down and all these different things. So where do you find the new leaders? The best way to do it is find algorithmically, not just by percent up, percent down, but algorithmically which ones are the most exciting opportunities. All right, so that's one way to go ahead and find some of those different opportunities. And then find a place where you got commonalities. For instance, like SGen, which we're going to talk about in a moment. So let's just move right to that. So we go over here to Wealth Scanner, which is an extremely powerful tool, especially for busy professionals. And you just go in there, go to NASDAQ 100, which is always the first place I tend to start, and looking for the things that are doing the best. Well, so what we can see here is a host of things. First of all, we can see these strategies I've shared with you repeatedly over and over and over again over the years. We're getting a champion trend, first of all, but then look what happened here. You had the pullback on the stochastic. You had the pullback on the stochastic. You had the pullback on the stochastic, right? And of course, those are entry and re-entry opportunities, right? On top of that, you had a wealth signal fire off. You end up having multiple IRBs, reverse IRBs, which you'll see all throughout here. And so lots of entry and reentry opportunities. And so what's happening here is biotech, we saw the medical space is doing very well. You saw on the sector scanner how well it was performing there. And then you see SGen has been rising through the ranks on Wealth Scanner. And we're doing some really cool things with Wealth Scanner too, which we'll announce for you in 2 weeks. So, at the Wealth 365 Summit. So really great way to kind of narrow in, find the hottest sectors, which as you saw was healthcare and consumer defensives there. Makes sense, right? Despite if you have an economy that's on edge, people still need healthcare and medical innovations, and of course consumer defense is self-explanatory. So with that being said, there's a great way to go ahead and find those things. And when you find a sector that's doing well, you can drop those into a watch list. And then either look at things on your wealth scanner. You can look at things on any one of the number of great scanners that we have inside of the Wealth Charts platform. The point I'm making with that is the way to find these things right now at this point, that's the best way to go ahead and find short-term opportunities. If you're looking for a short-term long opportunity because you're seeing a little bit of bullishness, you're seeing a little bit of holding key support levels, you're seeing positive divergences, one of the best things you can do is go ahead and then look for other things that look like they might have short-term bullish opportunities as well. Otherwise, if you don't want to take the risk of a swing trade right now, despite the ways I showed you to find some of the higher probability ones from my perspective, then like I said, that brings you back to the intraday perspective because the technicals are just working phenomenally. You can see that over and over, hitting key resistance levels, pulling back. You can see all the entries and re-entries, IRBs, reverse IRBs, stochastics. everything is just kind of positive divergences like we talked about here on the daily chart, key support levels on the weekly charts. What a great time to go ahead and be an active trader and investor in the markets. And the real key thing is, do you want risk on or risk off from that perspective? Do you want to go ahead and focus on just kind of focus on short-term opportunities, getting in, getting out within the same day, and potentially in the next several minutes? Or do you want to look for higher probability short-term swing trades? And then we showed you how you can look for those from my perspective as well. So some great stuff happening there. I want to go ahead and kind of update you on what we're seeing and how to find some of the best opportunities, the ones we're looking at right there from the healthcare perspective and consumer defensive, and we'll keep you updated. And then, of course, we've got the big show coming up here right around the corner, and that's going to be an incredible one across the board. So looking forward to seeing you there. Make sure you get registered for that if you haven't already. Go to joinwealth365.com. Joinwealth365.com and go and get yourself registered for that, because you are not going to want to miss that. So I got a huge lineup right off the bat Monday morning, and you're going to want to see that for sure, trust me. So with that being said, I can't wait to go and see upcoming videos here. Please remember all the things I just said in the video there. Joinwealth365.com for the upcoming huge summit. What a great time to be an active trader investor in the space. So really excited. I'll see you in the upcoming videos. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.